Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. Got a cast on the cards for you guys today. Shorter one. It's a mid-level ladder matchup, ladder matchup between Nasimka and Darabus. Pulled this one off of the Replays the Cast on the Fortune Alliance Forever Discord channel. If you guys want to see your replays cast, that's probably going to be the best chance at getting them cast. I pull from there. A lot of people pull from there that are casters within this community. So now that that's out of the way, we'll introduce our players real quick. We have Nasimka down on the bottom. He's playing Cybran going first land. And we have Darabus up at the top, who is also going Cybran going first land, which is awesome for me because that means that I'm going to be able to be happy because my home team is going to win all the time. I'm going to be the stereotypical American here and just claim victory even if other people are playing, if they're playing with my favorite colors, just like we do in football, just like we do in basketball. It's crazy to see how worked up people can get over professional sports here in America. Well, I guess world over. Manchester United, Liverpool, like the actual football instead of American football. People get crazy just the same. These guys going for standard build orders though. I'm working on several videos today. Actually, I found out I have the day off, which was kind of weird. I completely forgot, but I logged in this morning. It was like nobody was online. I was like, great, okay, I guess today's off, and confirmed it on the corporate calendar. Really do work for a great company. But these guys really going for, the only kind of deviation in the build order here is Nasimka going for second air, while Darabus is going to be committing to land. Getting a Mantis out, you can see some expanding engineers here for Nasimka as well, whereas Darabus going for a little bit of this reclaim here in this kind of crater. We'll go back to single screen, and let's go ahead and bring the mini map back up. We'll talk about the map a little bit. So Crimson Feud, 5x5, lots of mass for a 5x5. This is a kind of a ladder classic. Probably one of the funniest games I've ever played was against Kappa, one of my good friends who's kind of like, we're kind of training partners, I guess, if you call it seriously. But we play a lot of 1v1s together, and probably one of the funniest games I've ever played is actually on my channel. I'll link it down in the description. It was one of my very early videos. But it was on this map. It was like a 50-minute long game because both Kappa and I were like 500 rated players and had no idea what to do. And it has some really, really funny elements of it. As we see a bomber coming out from Nasimka. Zeus T1 bomber making its way across the map. And third land as well for Darabus. So no air in sight as of yet. So he's going to have to go for mobile AA to deal with that. See what we got a scout as well, some flying eyes right in front of it. See what the Zeus ends up going for though, as we do have a little bit of a run by here in the back, but looks like we're gonna have 2 engineer casualties here depending on where he placed it. Beautiful placement on that shot, and the run by for Darabus is gonna actually run into Nasimka's commander, so not gonna be able to get a whole lot done with that. Similar though, little raid up here at the top. We have Mantis that is being microed pretty well, I think, by Nasimka. Good micro as well on the reclaim from the engineer, so he's going to be able to secure, at least temporarily, that top position as well. And Darabus having to throw out some Sky Slammers to get that Zeus out of here, but the damage has already been done. Hydro is not going to complete. We have, I believe, a destroyed mechs as well, so he's going to have to scramble some more engineers to go and make up for that. Which is going to be hurting his timings a little bit. And you can see Nasimka already got control of his entire kind of starting area within the base and is beginning to harass these more perimeter mexes for Darabus. Mantis going to bag a poor little engineer trying to get a PD up. And kind of the meta here on this map that I usually see is we have Nasimka doing what I usually see, which is walking your commander over to kind of the opposing corner here, grab those mexes, and it looks like Darabus is going to be doing the same kind of deal, just going a little bit more of a roundabout way instead of stopping to pick up this mex on this little plateau, which it kind of looks like you need to drop to, but you actually don't. You can get up here with an engineer or your commander just fine. So we have another bomber coming out from Nasimka. Darabus still not going for air. Might be worth it with how many bombers there are. Zeus is going to be a little bit off the mark there, but is going to bag a partially completed mechs. And so that engineer is going to continue with his build order, as we've got pressure being applied from Deribus here. It's good that he's getting a little bit of... Good that he's getting some punches back in. Going to interrupt a build order there from Nasimka. And we have Deribus moving his comm up to the north to secure that northwestern location. But Deribus actually making good use of his units right now. Nasimka's units just seem to be a little bit out of position, and I think he went a little too light on the land production initially. Only 4 factories up, just doesn't have enough units in the field, and the units that he has are not where he needs them to be, unfortunately. So he's going to lose this corner. Does lose 2 factories here in the middle, as well as mechs. And this Zeus is still harassing. Deribus having to move Sky Slammers kind of all over the place. See another one up here protecting this position. And he does go for air, actually, up here off of this Hydro. As we have an engagement here. Deribus going to try and just ram his units through the defensive line, but... Well, actually, Nasimka moving off. So those two Mantis going to survive to fight another day. As Nasimka goes for full production down here in the bottom, 4 land factories. Is going to look to flank, I guess, as much as possible. We do actually have a T2 mechs out for Deribus. So even though he's a little bit down as far as mass extractors captured with the full lower right-hand side captured, these guys are trading relatively equally in terms of mass per tick. Nasimka up a little bit in total reclaim, as well as mass accrued, up by about 2,000. And we see Deribus trying to pressure this position a little bit. Commander is here, though, for Nasimka, so going to be difficult for him to pressure it with this number of T1 units. He goes for a radar as well. And zooming out, we see similar pressure now coming from Nasimka towards the north. We do have a point defense here, though, thrown down. That is going to be hugely invaluable, considering it doesn't look like there's any artillery in that mix. Looks like it's all Mantis. And gun upgrade on the way for Deribus right now. As Nasimka switches up, tries to go for a little bit of a flank, a little bit of a run-by to take out that mass extractor. But the reason why I picked this game is there's some really crazy things that happen in this game. Right now, this is pretty standard as far as how you would play the map. North half goes to the northern player, southern half goes to the southern player. You're throwing T1 against each other. Sit tight, because some crazy stuff's gonna happen soon. As we see more Zeus getting scrambled by Nasimka to deal with these units. Beautiful bombing raid there. Going to take out 5 or 6 Mantis, and now only 1 left. 1 badly damaged assault bot's going to make it through. And Nasimka is still working with a vanilla comm. Deribus about 85% of the way to his commander upgrade. As Zeus now getting committed towards the main base. We do have a handful of interceptors, and by handful I mean 1, out for Deribus. It's going to get countered by the interceptors from Nasimka, who is still maintaining control of the air. And these bombers actually doing work. They might end up bagging this T2 mechs, which would not be good for Deribus. Invested a good amount of mass, good amount of build power into getting that up to Tech 2. Is this going to be the bomber that does it? He's going to lose that T2 mechs. It's not what you want to see whenever you're kind of down. Goes for a tracer to help kind of stop the bleeding. Sky Slammer's not really cutting it anymore. Going to have to go for some static AA to deal with the fighters as well as the bomber. Is over his base. Simka, though, marshalling a relatively large T1 force here, though. And Deribus does not have enough units here. Starts throwing down PD, though, to protect his core base. These T1 units going to make a run by for this secondary starting location. And then down here at the bottom we see Deribus making landfall here. Well, I guess making base fall? Would that be it? Base fall? Nice overcharge on that point defense. And I'm going to stay relatively zoomed out here. Actually, we can just go to split screen. I am a professional caster. We can go to split screen to keep an eye on both of these sides of engagement here. Derib is going to lose his air factory as well as a good portion of that secondary base, but this gun comm causing huge problems. That is in the middle of his base right now. Nasimka forced to push his comm in, really, and gonna have to go for some sort of base trade here, because I don't think there's any stopping this gun comm with the tools that Nasimka has right now. You can see him dropping a ton of PD back here to try and slow him down at least. Derib is actually stopping to reclaim factories. So pretty sure it's faster to, once you have gun, I'm pretty sure it's faster to just attack them. I think without gun, it is faster to reclaim. But once you've got gun upgrade, it is faster to just attack them as it doubles your DPS. But lots of T1 spam making their way in on both sides, and both bases looking real bad right now. Gotta say, Deribus's base is looking a little bit better than Nasimka's though. Just, he's already got this network of point defense. Deribus does have a gun comm. It's gonna be much harder to deal with just point defense, as well as T1 units. But almost all of the core mass down for Deribus, as he's only at 16, 15 per tick. Nasimka up at 27, so able to hit back a little bit better. But the push is kind of petered out here for Nasimka. And Deribus is going to maintain control of at least his core factories. I don't know how much good those are going to do with only 15 mass per tick coming in, but at least he can run them. As Nasimka starts going for point defense in the back here. Deribus with this gun comm, once he's done with this base, going to move on to the secondary starting location. We're staying in split screen for a while here. This is fun. I'd love to see an overcharge on these power generators so that I can watch them pop like a zipper. Just I guess so you could do a row of dominoes as well. The domino effect on power generators. But Mantis are going to do it instead. Does have a couple of Medusa in there, so point defense now starting to harass the northern sections of Deribus's base. Deribus resorting to reclaim now instead of rebuilding mexes, which is probably smart. He's got a good amount of reclaim there available to him. And Nasimka's comm is now moving back in to the base. And I'm watching. I think Deribus is still on top here, but Nasimka's comm is back in the base. Does have that point defense to back him up a little bit, so could be doing some more significant damage. Actually, we'll go ahead and zoom out. We'll go back to single screen because Deribus has now migrated a lot of, Nasimka has now migrated a lot of his eco to this corner with power generators. You can see similar thing from Deribus up in the northeastern corner. Both of these guys have pretty much lost their entire core power grid and they're having to rebuild it elsewhere. And Nasimka is still going for as much air superiority as he can. Got 3 air factories queued up. Commander, though, now on the run, dropping into the yellow. And not really any units available to help him. That is 20 Mantis, so that's enough to bag that comm. As the Nasimka drops down into the yellow. I don't even know if he has overcharge available to him. Okay, yeah, definitely does. Bags 5 Mantis with that overcharge. Great overcharge. And it looks like he will be able to extricate himself there. But the damage has been done to both sides, and I gotta say, Nasimka actually still looking a little better here. Maintained control of this second starting location. Deribus has lost pretty much everything in his initial base outside of the factories. But Commander looking far more healthy as well as with the gun upgrade. I think he still has overcharge available to him as well. Maybe not. I'm not seeing the energy storage. I'm also not sure what happened to my advanced strategic icons mod. Maybe it's because this is a different build of the game. I'll have to go sort that out, but I just realized that's not on, so sorry about that, guys. But you guys are gonna have to deal with vanilla strategic icons for now. As the Simca makes another push with T1, strays within range of that auto gun though. Alright, and now it's looking pretty bad for Nasimka. So Darabus moving in with his commander, that gun upgrade, taking out the other starting location, and has somehow managed to maintain control of this northern position. Is now going to start pushing back with some T1 units out of those factories. He's rebuilt his initial core mexes, also has a T2 mex up here in the northern side of the map. Darabus doing a great job keeping kind of his cool here, recognizing the advantage he has with that gun upgrade. One lonely mantis going to murder some innocent civilians up here. And we have another bombing run now from Nasimka, making its way out. We got 6 Zeus. Would they be Zeus? What's the plural of Zeus? Is it like Zeus and is it goose and geese? Zeus and Zeus? Is that right? We'll just call them gods of the sky. Although they're all getting shot down, so obviously they're not very powerful gods. Now what are you gonna do? Okay, so my how the turntables have turned at this point. So Simca going for another push here. Actually need to turn the mini-map back on. Forget to do that whenever I go back into split screen. But there's no more point defense for Darabus up here at the north. The gods of the sky have taken that out. Commander on the run though. Still a vanilla commander. Still no upgrade. 73 kills on that comm though. I wonder how many we've got for Darabus. Darabus is at 106. Okay, so both guys getting huge amounts of value out of their commanders as more Zeus come in. Danger close bombing runs on Nasimka's commander. Going full broken arrow. Now, Nasimka needs this push to do something. And I think it can. He's got a relatively healthy commander here. He's got some T1 units back behind him. There is no more point defense, but he needs that to do something, and he needs it to do it quickly because this is a race now, and Darabus with his gun comm is now bearing down on Nasimka's new base here. As these guys are just going to be playing tag with each other across the map. I think without the gun comm, Nasimka just might not have enough gas in the tank to break this base fast enough, as we see Darabus's gun commander make base fall once again, targeting the air factories here. And there is 1 point defense back here in the back of the base. He's still going to lose a lot of his factories. And Nasimka getting a little bit desperate, does have some Medusas in the mix, so that is going to help in dealing with these buildings pretty quickly, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be a little bit too little too late. As soon as Darabus gets to this rear power grid, Nasimka is not going to be able to overcharge anymore. And even though he's once again dealt a crippling blow to the starting base, Darabus has really just migrated everything over to the other location. Even got a T3 mex that is even taking over Nasimka's old base now. As point defense, the lone point defense falls to the gun comm. And Darabus actually with some bombers of his own now in the sky. Decided to call upon the Zeus, the gods of the sky. And yep, I think this is going to be it for Nasimka. He's not going to have enough in the tank to deal any sort of damage. any sort of lasting damage. You could still keep running with this commander, but there's another wave of units up here for Darabus to move in. As the power grid begins to pop. Factories are going to get shut down. There's no point defense anymore. The Simca now working with very little energy and is going to bow out of the game. I think the gun upgrade is your MVP here. Gun upgrade versus Zeus. Versus Zeus. 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 I like the Zeus. Alrighty, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed that one. Shorter cast today. Like I said, working on a lot of videos today, so look for those in the future. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.